Hey everybody, I'm JJ Johnson. You're watching Reality Survival. So the other day I did a video talking about the 5 elements of self-defense, and I threw it out there that if anybody was interested, I would do a video on the 15 things I would do after a self-defense shooting. And so that is what this video is going to be about. Now, first caveat, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a lawyer, and I highly recommend that you speak to an attorney about what to do after a self-defense shooting in your state. I'm just going to go through and tell you what I would do if I was in a self-defense shooting, okay? And this is just based off of my understanding of the process, my experience as a law enforcement officer, and all that kind of stuff. It's just what I would do. So I'm just sharing with you my personal advice. I'm not giving you legal advice and telling you what to do in your state, because every state is different. So talk to an attorney there in your state. So before I get going, I guarantee there's going to be people in the comments who are going to say, this is stupid, totally ridiculous, don't say anything to a police officer after a self-defense shooting. You just say you want an attorney, and that's all. Don't say nothing. And that's fine. You can do that. But the reality of the situation is if you do that, you're almost ensuring a few things. You're almost ensuring that you're going to be arrested. You're almost ensuring that the process is going to take much, much longer than it should. And you're definitely causing suspicion on yourself, So the stuff that I'm talking about here, police officers are not, well, most police officers are not complete idiots, okay? And for the most part, most of the police officers I've dealt with are very pro concealed carry. They like concealed carry holders as a general rule. So you don't have to necessarily think that a police officer is going to be out to get you. It's the wrong attitude to have. You just need to use some common sense, and that's what I think these 15 things are, is basically common sense things that are going to help you get through the process a little bit smoother, or would help me get through the process a little bit smoother, and that's why I would do them. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Number 1, make sure that your weapon is reholstered as soon as the area is secure. Do not walk around carrying the gun. This is going to be a very bad situation if, police arrive on scene and you're walking around with a gun out. You're just asking for trouble. So make sure that it's reholstered. That's just common sense. All right. Number 2, you may need to gently kick the criminal's weapon away from his body or out of his hand. You don't know for sure if he's going to regain consciousness, if he's fully dead. You don't really know for sure, but you want it to be secure. You want it, nobody to be able to have access to it. So don't let anybody else touch it, and just kind of move the gun, very gently away from them with your feet. I wouldn't recommend touching it with your hands at all, just because you don't want to put your fingerprints on it and cause any confusion. If you've got a set of latex gloves and you're careful not to destroy any of the subject's fingerprints, then you might, just by 2 fingers or whatever, just move it over out of the way where it's, safe. But you don't want to destroy any evidence or any fingerprints or anything like that. You're only doing this for safety, just so that they don't have immediate access to it if they wake up for whatever reason. And you need to make sure you tell your attorney that you did that so that they can note that as well, for any proceedings or anything like that. Okay, that is 2. So number 3, make sure that you call 911. Even if other people have already called 911, you need to make sure that you call 911. You need to let them know that a crime has taken place, that a criminal has been shot, and an ambulance is required. Don't provide them any details to tell them you can't answer additional questions right now. Be very short, very concise. You want to be sure and let them know that the threat has ended and that people at the scene are no longer in immediate danger. Essentially, you're trying to relay that the scene is secure. The reason you want to do that is because you want the dispatch officer to be able to tell the police that they're not going into a dangerous situation. That's going to help bring their adrenaline down a little bit, and it's going to help everybody be a little bit more level-headed and all that kind of stuff when they first come into the situation. So just make sure that you pass that along, that the scene is secure. and then an ambulance is required, for the criminal as well. Okay, so that was 3. Number 4, as soon as you hang up with 911, call your attorney, and if you don't have an attorney identified, you should, you really should. And we'll talk a little bit about an additional resource here at the end, but having and knowing who your attorney is, somebody in your city, somebody who's good with, criminal defense law and all that kind of stuff, is a very good idea. So give them a call, just let them know what's happening, where it's at, all that kind of stuff. He'll probably give you some advice and all that kind of stuff too. And you should have talked to them ahead of time about what to do, if you are in a situation. Anyway, number 5, when the police arrive, make sure your hands are out, visible, and notify them that you are the victim, that you're a legal concealed carry permit holder, and that you're armed, okay? Now, number 6, this is kind of an immediate right after that. Be ready to surrender your firearm. And be ready to get handcuffed just until they sort things out and all that kind of stuff. It's very possible that they could put you in handcuffs. Don't freak out. It may be police department policy or something like that. You just don't know for sure, but you need to be willing and follow their directions and all that kind of stuff. Don't give them a lot of hard time. This is a very confusing and chaotic situation to be in, and the cops are just trying to make sure that everybody is safe and that they know who the victim and who the criminal are. You know it because you were there, but they're just walking into the scene, and they have an obligation to keep everybody safe. So follow along with whatever it is that they're asking you to do as far as surrendering your gun or if they want to handcuff you temporarily or whatever the case may be, okay? And there's other things that you're going to do that's going to help, as we go through this list, that's going to help put them at ease and ensure, them that you are, in fact, the victim and not the perpetrator. Okay, number 7, tell the police that you're willing to sign the complaint against the criminal. Okay, this is the key thing that you need to do because you need them to understand that you're the victim. All right, and you want to file charges against that guy, whatever. And if he ends up dying, then obviously that's going to go nowhere. But it's an important thing for them to understand. You do want to provide them a very short verbal statement, okay? My recommendation would be for you to record this verbal statement with your phone, and it would be something to the effect of, I would like to speak to an attorney before I provide a written statement or answer any questions. But I want you to know that I am the victim of this crime and that I was afraid for my life. I felt that if I did not defend myself, the criminal was going to kill me. I will fully cooperate with your investigation and I will sign the complaint. But because the issue is so serious, I would like to consult with an attorney before answering any additional questions. Okay? It's just something very similar to that. It doesn't have to be a lot, but you need to relay those few points. 1, you want an attorney. 2, you're the victim. 3, it was self-defense. 4, you want to cooperate with their investigation, and you want to sign the complaint, but you want to speak to an attorney first. Okay? All right, so you want to keep it very short and concise. Number 8, what I would do is I would point out the other witnesses who saw the incident happen. If you're in a store or whatever the case may be, anybody who was there, I would point them out and say, hey, they were here, whatever the case may be. If anyone tries to leave before the police arrive, I would ask them to stay because you want them to be able to back up, what happened. Also, let's see here. Oh, and if they do insist on leaving, then I would try to snap a quick picture of them and or their license plate as they leave. That way the cops can go and interview them and find out, later on. Number 9. Okay, I would show the officer any evidence of the crime, the weapon of the subject, any injuries that you sustained or other people who were shot or attacked, any video surveillance cameras that are in the area. A lot of surveillance cameras only record on a loop, and there's only a certain amount of time before stuff starts to get erased. So it's important for them to get that tape fairly early on. So if there is some cameras in the area, then point that out to them, because it'll back up your story. Okay, number 10. I would take pictures of the video, or I would take pictures and video. Sorry, my phone's ringing. I would take pictures and video of the scene, of the surrounding area, as long as I could do that, either A, before the police arrived, or as long as I wasn't getting in their way or anything like that. But you don't want to touch or move anything. And also, while you're filming, don't speak. Just do silent recording, because that could all, obviously be used in court later and all that kind of stuff. And if you made any kind of excited utterance or something like that you didn't really mean to say or whatever, it could cause issues. So just don't say anything as you're filming the scene. And you want to film the scene or take pictures of it so that you can help your attorney understand the situation as a whole. And like they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, a video is worth a lot. And it's going to help them understand, where you were at, what you were doing, all that kind of stuff. If you just kind of show them the area, how things were after everything went down, where the body was, where the gun was, all that kind of stuff. So that was 10. Number 11, be ready and willing to surrender your weapon as evidence. Okay, it's almost a certainty that they're going to take your gun as evidence, because they need to match up the forensic evidence to your story. Okay, and you want them to have your gun. You want them to be able to show that everything is consistent, that the statement that you give them with your attorney after the fact is consistent with the facts at the scene. And so, don't throw your gun away. Don't try to hide it. Don't try to do anything like that. Just expect that they're going to take it. And they will give it back to you. Just make sure that you get a hand receipt for the gun, when they seize it. They will give you a written receipt, written out, the serial number and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully it'll be in the same condition when you get it back. But it is quite possible that it's going to be dirty. It may have residue on it from fingerprint processing and stuff like that, but it should still be usable. Okay, number 12, make sure you get the officer's name and badge number, as well as any report number that's filed that day. If you can, that's just going to help your attorney out and finding out where the police are in the situation, what's going on, and all that kind of stuff. Number 13, if you are arrested or read your Miranda rights, make sure that you do not provide any information. Ask to speak with your attorney before you provide anything further. It's very possible that in some police departments it may be their policy that no matter what the situation is, if it's self-defense or not, that the person who does the shooting gets processed. Okay, and so that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get charged with a crime or anything like that. It may just mean that they want to process you, and you just need to go along with that and understand that that's their procedure. In other places, the police may not do anything. They may not even take your gun. Who knows? Local departments vary greatly on how they handle these issues, so you really just need to be cooperative and as much as you can without providing a ton of information without consulting with your attorney. But don't freak out, don't start resisting arrest, don't do any of that kind of stuff, because that's going to make the situation worse, and it's going to make it appear like you've done something wrong when you haven't. Okay, you've got to keep a level head on this kind of stuff. All right, number 14, in the hours and days after the incident, keep notes on the facts of the incidents as you remember them. This is a very traumatic incident, and it's a lot to process, and so you may remember things after a certain amount of time afterwards that you didn't think of right away. Maybe like after the first time that you talked to your attorney and you go back and you remembered some additional details. Well, you want to keep those on some notes. On those notes, at the top of the paper, write on there privileged communication. Or you can write in there notes for my attorney or something like that. Basically, you want to label it that it's a privileged communication, because that is a legal term that allows it can't be used against you. And it's only something for you and your attorney that can look at, and the police officers can't consider that in anything that they're doing or in any of their proceedings. So, keep those notes, because sometimes it's very foggy, when stuff happens and you just don't remember exactly how everything went down. As it becomes clear, you take the notes down. Okay, number 15, do not speak with anyone about the incident other than your lawyer and your spouse. That's it. The statute of limitations on murder is forever. Okay, and so you just don't want to talk about this stuff to anybody. Plus, you may have to deal with a civil suit from the family members of the subject after the fact. And if you've made a bunch of statements, even if you've been cleared of the charges, criminally, you could have a civil suit to deal with later, and any statements that you've used since then publicly can still be used in your civil suit. At least that's my understanding. So I would just avoid talking about it, period. Definitely don't want to make any YouTube videos about it or Facebook posts or anything like that. Don't do anything regarding social media. Keep it to yourself, even after the event is over and done with. Okay, so that was the 15 things. I understand that a lot of people are going to say, that's crazy, don't say anything, get an attorney, period, end of story, don't do anything. Well, it's just not the smartest thing to do, because it's not helping the police understand the situation. You're just causing more confusion. You're causing things to drag out a whole lot longer. As I've noted here, I'm not a fan of giving a written statement, but a very short verbal statement to let them know where you are, and that you're the victim, and all those kinds of things like we covered is important to help them understand that you're the victim. Okay. One other thing here is I highly recommend that you consider a membership to the U.S. Concealed Carry Association. Their advice is very similar in nature to mine, and I've expanded on that a little bit to deal with kind of some of the stuff that I know that happens on the scene and all that kind of thing. But essentially their recommended verbal statement is very, very close to mine. And, they offer a lot of good benefits at a pretty reasonable price. I think you can look at their membership information, and kind of their homepage is usconcealedcarry.net. So there's other insurance type, concealed carry insurance type companies out there. I don't know a lot about them. I know that there's I think NRA offers one, and I think there's another one too, but it's escaping my memory right now. But having an organization like that to come help you out after a self-defense shooting is probably a good idea, because that's what they do. That's what their attorneys do on a regular basis, and they're going to know self-defense law very well, and they're going to be able to help you out probably better than anybody else. So anyway, guys, I apologize for my voice. I'm dealing with like a nasty kind of head cold today. But that is my 15 points in what to do after a self-defense shooting. So if you guys are new to the channel, then I would appreciate it if you subscribe. If you're already subscribed, go ahead and click the little bell button down there, because that will have YouTube send you an email each time we upload a new video. Getting it in your feed and stuff like that is sometimes not the most reliable. Anyway, guys, I always appreciate it when you click the thumbs up button, when you share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. And don't forget to live the 6 Ps. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. Stay safe, guys. And let me know down in the comments below if I have forgotten anything. What would you guys do differently, or would you just say nothing at all? Let me know in the comments below. We'll keep the discussion going. Thanks a bunch. Stay safe. you.